Hello teacups, what's brewing? Welcome back again to the channel. Things are going on, things have moved forward with Foodie, so I thought I'd bring to you, this is barbecue chickens cut down, and go through the live she did, which was well onto plan B. Now this is going to be a react to that cut down. Some of you like the reacts, some of you don't. I do what makes me happy, I can't please everyone. Now, I should say, before we get into it, I was completely wrong yesterday. I didn't think she'd leave that apartment. Now, I do have some thoughts about that, and we'll get into it a little bit later, but I knew how difficult the process of going to court to get an eviction officiated was going to be. And so, in a very simple way, I just didn't think that there was enough time for this to happen. It doesn't seem like it's gone through that route, and that is what we'll discuss. But I was genuinely surprised to see she's out. But let's get into this and we'll discuss it a bit further as we go. Oh, one more thing before we start. There's been a little bit of drilling noise around. I don't know if you'll hear any during this react, but I don't know how long they're going to be in there. I think they're doing some work from the people who have moved out. So if it happens, it happens. So sorry. So yesterday on Twitter, someone figured out where Chantal lives. So she got doxxed. Then someone else contacted the landlord and said this. A little note on doxing. There was quite a divide between people who said doxing is wrong, period, and people who said Foodie deserved it. I'm of the camp where two things can be true at the same time. I don't agree with doxing, period. And I think if we are going to rightly judge her for when laughing when Dee Dee lost her job, or putting out Dee Dee's mum's information, which was just an awful thing to do, we can't then say, okay, no, but it's okay to dox her. However, do I expect people to be sad that it happened to her? No. No, I do not, my friends. I don't like it when people go super real life. So also contacting the landlord is a little bit side-eye, but we'll get into this. I'm not surprised by it. And as I said, I think yesterday, she has built this little bit of karma for herself. All right, so it turns out the listing was on Facebook Marketplace, which may potentially be relevant a little bit later. Someone sent links to Foodie's channel, and the landlord said, hello, thank you for your concern. The matter is being handled, but I appreciate you taking the time to inform me. So polite, not much given away, but hey, I'm aware. Probably please leave me alone, because I can't imagine this is the only message he got. And this is the live that Foodie had.
Hello, is the internet, it's probably really slow because my plan is like shit.
Yeah, it was potato quality for the first few minutes.
Well, I bought a new car. I'm just joking. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't my car, who knows?
This, from the background of it, looks like the car she was using in the cameos. She's probably lent it off of a family member. I can't imagine she wants to spend more money than she needs to at this point.
So I'm doing members only streams, and I think that I'm going to keep it that way. So if you want to partake and join, ask me questions, whatever, please feel free to join, because it's just way better that way for me.
For her, because less of the members will question her. This stream was members only, which doesn't surprise me.
Hey Scarlett, Smokey's okay. So a lot of drama has unfolded. I'm sure you know already, but I've learned a big lesson from this.
She has learned nothing from this. This is the closest I've ever come to a person and just been like, wow, absolutely incapable of learning. That is not a statement I make lightly. This is not her first rodeo. This is not the first time she's been doxxed. Like, what have you learned?
I have access to a car. I can't tell you if I rented it, if I bought it, if it's loaned to me from somebody I know.
I think it's her mum's car. Doesn't really matter.
Because I can literally not share a single thing about my life.
True.
And I'm sorry, but people have ruined that for everyone. Hey, CP, it's not safe for me to, with people, psychotic people trying to ruin my life, so...
Absolutely true. Not new information. I think under any circumstance, a single woman living alone should be careful about the information she puts out. But we know from history that it always goes badly for Chantal.
So basically, because I filmed, what happened was I filmed inside my apartment, which, by the way, if I ever move somewhere, never. I can never show you guys my place unless I buy a house, even then. Like, people be looking up apartments, people be looking up, like, it's just really...
I've got a couple of things to say there. One, she is never going to buy a house. Could you imagine her having the consistency Want the earning power at this point, especially with the prices being what they are, but the earning power and the consistency to put money aside, the credit history to be able to get a mortgage. Like, are you mad? No. Second, something that just sort of caught my ear as a weird thing, she's changed onto this, people be doing that, people be doing this, why my text messages be popping up? I don't know why she's speaking like that. It's not her natural way of speaking. I think it's her just trying to be very fake nonchalant about it.
He messed up, like, you know, but I'm not surprised. Whatever, I can't do anything about that. So they found...
Well, you can do things about that, but we'll get into it.
Where I lived, and like the landlord posted another apartment for rent in the same house, and and I'm telling you this because I'm not staying there anymore, so it doesn't matter.
So she's back at Smee's? She must be. If she's got Smee's card, she's got nowhere else to go. Assuming she's telling the truth, she could just be staying there for the week and be like, I'll throw them off and I'll just stream from the car. Doesn't really matter.
He posted that. People were searching all over online. So basically,
I think from what I'm piecing together, she got doxxed on the farms, and then someone noticed like the listing on Facebook and made the connection, I think. Or the dox on the farms wasn't quite right, but someone found a better match. I'm not sure which it is.
I need a car. I need to like move all my shit.
Yep.
All my stuff, sorry. I need to move all my stuff.
All the things she's done, and that's what she's worried about, saying shit instead of stuff.
So anyways, and I need to do content, like I need to get out of there. Like, you know, I need to get out of there. So anyways, people are just doing too much, so my bad. I should have never showed you guys any of my apartment.
True. But this is the reason she will never be able to stop this happening. Because in order to stay in control of her environment, she has to do one of two things. Either she has to do only pre-recorded content where she can edit identifying things out, which she is too lazy to do, or she needs to stay sober while live streaming so that she doesn't accidentally reveal things, and so long as she's smoking weed, she's just not going to be in control of herself. So neither of those things are going to happen, so this is going to happen again.
I cannot do that I cannot share my apartment with you because of some psychotic people, whatever. So my bad, I shouldn't have done that. I should have literally just filmed with a green screen. Or anytime I go live, it will have to be like, if it's from a place where I am, it has to be from a green screen.
Her green screen has failed before. Now, in the luxury villa, she had a physical green screen. She didn't just use the app. But it's not great around the edges. That's how people potentially recognize this as the cameo car. So she'd do better to just have a wall and have a background.
It has to be from a white wall with nothing in the background. So I'm sorry, but my content is going to be very boring when it's live streams.
I'm sorry, but your content was already quite boring. The things that were interesting were things that were out of your control. Now, I'm a little sad in the sense of I quite like the how is she getting on in Canada arc. I quite like the let's decorate the place arc. And I would like to see some of that content. And she has no real idea of what content she's going to do. So I guess she'll have to do some, okay, I think we're going around this store to get furniture, or we're picking up decor, or here's my haul, that kind of stuff. But we won't see it in place. Because the only advantage these big moves had for her was that she could create content out of it. Potentially get back some of the money.
That was plan A, living in my own place with Smokey. That's not gonna work.
When she says living in her own place, does that mean plan B is living in someone else's place? She must currently be at either her mum's or her aunt's. Those are the only options she has short term. You know what I think would actually be the best for her? If she came to some kind of agreement with her stepdad. You remember when the family staged an intervention because she was on cocaine and sent her out to that cabin? If she could get a car like long term that wasn't loaned to her, I would say having a sit down with the uncle and saying, hey, can we come to a number we're both comfortable with, and could I just informally rent this place from you? I feel like that would be her best deal because she wouldn't have to go through any credit checks, and I want to talk about that as well. She wouldn't have to go through any credit checks. It would be family. The only problem she'd have is that her family know her a little better and they might not want to rent it, quite frankly. But in a state of, let's call this emergency, they might be willing to do that. Even if only for like, say, okay, this year, do that, get back on your feet and then get out.
Will my text messages be showing up on the screen?
Why they be showing up on the screen?
That's not good. So, Smokey is going, we're rehoming him. But I'm trying to find the right place for him. I feel really bad for him. He's very sweet, but he's like a really vocal cat. Like he cries nonstop. So I don't know. I have a plan B, but I'm not telling anyone what the hell it is.
Cabin, I'm saying. I think Smokey is just back at the apartment, but now that she's not staying there, she doesn't care as much. We are rehoming him. I don't know who we is. Her and her family are trying to look for somewhere, I guess.
Quite frankly, I'm not going to tell you, and I don't think you can blame me.
I don't
so
blame
I have
you for that.
until,
I don't think it'll
I
last.
explained to the landlord what was going on. Like, he's like, people are messaging me, telling me about when you lived in Orleans. I was like, yeah, many years ago.
Not many. 3. I think it's about 3 at this point. And if we want to get technical about it, people were telling him about the last time you rented in Canada. So it's not like it's completely irrelevant to the current day. How did you behave the last time you rented in Canada? Oh.
Many, like, years ago? Yeah, okay. Saying that, like, I was like, whatever, I always paid the rent on time, like...
She is so annoyed by this. Like, she's, and I don't even blame her for this, but she's come online and basically done the, oh, I'm not allowed to do this, well, I didn't want to do this anyway. Because what other option would she have at this point? She's not really saving face, but her other option would be to come online and cry about it. And that would just encourage trolls who are doing this to do it again next time. Not that I'm not saying they won't be encouraged already, because if they got her out once, they might just find it to be fun. Personally, I think she needs somewhere to live, like, let me watch my shows. But anyway, her talk with the landlord doesn't seem like it went well, and you can hear the irritation in her voice here. I don't think she presented herself well to him. Let's put it that way.
Like, whatever, if you want... I'm like, I'm not arguing with you about this. I explained what happened, like, all my history.
Did she say to the landlord, I'm not arguing with you about this? No, that's a great way to get people on side. Well done.
Everything. I'm like, actually, I don't feel comfortable staying there with people knowing where I am. So...
All right, I'm reading that as she, like, threatened to move out. You'd be like, well, I'll just move then, thinking she had some kind of leg up and he'd beg her to stay. Because she's lived in places where she's been doxxed before. People would get bored and move on. Like, the luxury villa, I think, was doxxed pretty quickly. And she kept living there with Pete.
I'm leaving, like, before the... Like, I'm not staying there now, but I'm leaving, so I'm, like, a lot of my stuff I have to get rid of, like, slowly.
She doesn't have that much stuff. She has the bed, the bedding, the toaster oven, and, like, some minor Tupperware plates, cutlery. She hadn't bought a TV yet, she hadn't bought a sofa yet, like, there's nothing massively big there. But I do want to talk about her getting out of there a little bit more, because after everything we discussed about the landlord and the eviction and the stuff, I was a little puzzled as to how she got out there so quickly. I'm assuming at this point 2 things. One, they came to the agreement that neither would pursue the other in terms of her not fulfilling her end of the bargain or what have you. And 2, and these could be separately or together, I don't think the landlord ran checks on her. I don't think she would have gotten the apartment if he did. The fact that he was advertising on Facebook Marketplace makes me think this was just a private rental and he didn't get a letting agent involved. Now, in the UK at least, the letting agent take a percentage of the rent for management, and they also run the checks and things like that, and the checks can cause a lot of trouble. So I have one of my best friends lives in Montreal. Like, I've been friends with her since Japan, that's how we met. And she lives in an apartment, she's been in an apartment for the last couple of years. But when she moved into that apartment, she actually had a lot of trouble because there was a person with the same name as her, different middle names but the same first and last, that had marks on their record for some problems they had with landlords somewhere else. And in Canada, those records show up. So she nearly lost her apartment because it was coming up under her name that she had problems with renting. And it was a bit of a faff, and she had to go and prove her identity. She had to show them, look, no, the middle names are different. But things got pretty close there. So they do keep records of any issues with tenancies. Now, it could be that Pete's was the only one on the lease when it came to the luxury villa. We assumed that it would have to be him given where her credit was at the time. But given that her credit score must be in the toilet, she doesn't exactly have a history to recommend her. So when she's saying, well, whatever, I always paid the rent on time, yes, but that won't be on your record. I think that's probably on Pete's record. She may have paid it, but she wasn't officially on the paperwork. Or it may have been that she was and Pete's was just the guarantor there. I don't know. But I don't think that's going to give her the protection she thinks it does.
And that's it. On to a new life, I guess. I have to move, yeah. Just, honestly, like, I was really depressed staying there anyways. I don't know what it is, but I'm just not happy. Like, I'm not happy. And the thought of, like...
That is quite the freeze frame. How she can be smug in this situation, I don't know. Her not being happy is a personal problem. Like, she's not going to be happy wherever she goes. I don't think she liked her apartment, especially because she's so conscious of how she looks online to people. There aren't many things that are important to Chantal, but one thing she's always bragged about is the money she has, and look what I can afford, and look, I didn't miss any payments, and I've got a lovely apartment, I've got whatever. And she couldn't do that in there. So it sounds a lot here like she's saying, well, I wasn't happy with the quality of the apartment. Well, honey, I don't think you're in a position to be choosy, but we'll move on.
Looking at more apartments and dealing with landlords, and it just makes me want to throw up. So honestly, I don't know what I'm going to do.
She's apparently got a plan, which is why I'm thinking the cabin, which I think has already been doxed as well. So, but if she moved into the cabin, at least she could be like, yeah, you know, I like where I'm living, and so it meets her standards. I am sure the idea of making any kind of effort to find another apartment, I mean, she had to spend a whole 7 hours looking for it the first time. I'm sure that does make her want to throw up. I think what's more likely to induce sickness would be the fact that most places would check her history, would expect her to meet certain standards. So she can look on like Facebook and into private landlords that maybe are not taking those steps, but the landlords who are doing that are fewer and further between, and she won't have as much choice. And how much is it costing her to get out of the apartment? She has stayed in it a little bit, and if she's gonna have a week or whatever to get stuff out, like, it's going to have cost her some money. Is he refunding the first and last? Like, is he keeping the first and refunding the last? We don't know what's happening there. I know she's just been paid, and I know she gets more cocky when she's got some money in her pocket. So it would be completely Chantal to not think ahead and be like, oh, well, next month's going to be really tight, but look, I've got money now. But we don't know.
But actually, I do know what I'm going to do, but I'm not telling anybody, so.
He
didn't kick me out. No, we just kind of, like, were arguing a bit and, like, trying to come up with, like, you know, I was just like...
We were arguing and now I don't live there. It was a mutual agreement.
I need to leave. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I got to find somewhere else like this.
This story is going very back and forth. I know what I'm going to do. I'm not going to tell you, but I don't know what I'm going to do. I think she's doing anything she can to save face, is what I think. I think she might have an idea that she might approach her family, and she's kind of assuming that'll work, but if it's a no, I think she's screwed.
So, you guys win, okay? Like, whatever you want over me, you win. Thank you.
Wasn't a competition.
Good move, you win. You have to be more secretive about your housing. I know, it sucks that I have to do that because, like, when I get a new place or, you know, I'd like to share with you guys, but you can't.
Well, basic internet safety, and stop aggravating your audience who you know are prone to doing this by, like, adopting cats before you've got sofas. And then fully saying it was a rebound cat that, with heavy implication if she just did it out of spite. The internet won't take it lying down. And if she hadn't gotten the cat, I think people wouldn't have attacked this quite so hard. Like, she would have been doxxed. She absolutely would have. It's not her first time. But it probably would have just stopped there and she would have lived with it the same way she did.
So live streaming is going to have to be away from where I'm residing, or
make pre-recorded content, you lazy woman. You can't sit there and tell me you don't have the time.
You know, imagine being mad you have to be home smoking because they got you kicked out. Yeah. I mean, whatever, stay mad. I don't know. They're always mad about something. So.
It's never my fault. I'm just innocent here.
Honestly, whatever. I'm just gonna, like, see what's gonna happen. Whatever. I don't know, guys. Recently found you from a doorway and doorknobs, yeah. Well, I don't think they would have found it if the landlord hadn't posted another unit for rent in the building. Like, I didn't even...
Clearly his fault.
Oh, there was another unit for... How many effing apartments can there be in a big house?
It looks like 4 from what I saw. All you do is subdivide them. It's not hard. And she herself said she had neighbours. And from what I understand, now is moving time in Canada. So, yeah. Oh, I've got another apartment for rent. I want to put it up quickly because I want tenants in there. And then if she's moving out, he's got to put that one up as well.
You know? How many apartments can there be?
The absolute entitlement of thinking, but I rent this apartment. You can't advertise the others.
And I can't just drop it at the SPCA because they don't allow that. You have to like do intake and they have to decide, hey.
Oh, is she checked? I don't know what the procedure is for it. There are other shelters though. There was a shelter in her comments that specializes in large cats. And by large, I mean overweight, not like tigers. And it was very kindly offering like, hey, we're from this sanctuary. If you need any advice, let her know. So Foodie could go and give the cat to them if it came to it. There are other places she could go.
Really? My impulsiveness with...
Hope you start to realize your impulsive affects not only you, but everyone around you, and never for the better.
What? So you're blaming me for being doxxed and being in trouble?
It's not her fault for being doxxed. It's definitely her fault that she was stupid enough to put herself in the position, having been in it before, and then aggravated her audience, knowing what they're like, and then daring them to do something. I'm not saying people should dox. I'm saying she went out of her way to paint a target on her back and then was shocked.
Is that what you're doing? Like, so you people bully me to the extent you try to get me, you know, everything and whatever, but I'm responsible for that. All right, sure.
Everyone had a part to play, is what I would say.
Thanks for the money. Like, getting Smokey was impulsive? Well,
yes.
I kind of felt pressure because the woman really wanted to get rid of him.
No. You wanted a cat to prove to the internet that you could have a cat and they couldn't do anything about it. Chantal has basically no close friends, right? You can count Pete's, they haven't been much in contact, but there's no one close enough to her to pressure her to do something. She is infamous for doing the opposite of what people want. That's the reason she got the cat.
And I would keep Smokey. Honestly, I decided I was going to keep Smokey if I was staying at my place. Like, I did.
And it would have been terrible because she's already relieved she doesn't have to listen to his meowing.
My last live stream in my home, and I said that I'm going to keep Smokey. You know, I'm going to make it work because, yes, he is growing on me day to day. He's grown on me, you know? Like, he's very loving, whatever.
Whatever.
Someone is impulsive. Yeah, maybe I'm impulsive, but you're repulsive. Okay? So, just...
Oh, she's so proud of that. Look, I rhymed. Haha. Feel the burn. Congratulations, Chantal. I acknowledge your achievements.
He was totally safe and fine in my apartment. It's not like he's, you know, people foster pets for months.
Within 2 days of you having him, we saw him spraying around the apartment. We saw you obviously incapable of caring for him properly. And we saw you lift him up, bend him backwards with the weight he's at. Excuse me if I do not have faith in your ability to look after a pet when you won't even go the doctor for your own foot. If you can't take care of yourself, you shouldn't add an animal to that.
So the outrage over Smokey is just false BS as usual.
No, not false BS. BS in some ways, but understandable BS.
And I'm not entertaining any more drama, so you
Well,
all
you're
are
here.
seriously literally going to be talking to yourself on that front. Like,
okay, let's see, because that's not the first time you've said you're not addressing it.
I don't know how, I'm literally just beezing, and then when I do live streams, it's gonna have to be, like, if I'm at home, it's gonna have to be green screens.
Yeah, I'm betting you wish you had taken that car now though, right?
VPNs and green screens, baby. So, yeah. You also took a home away from Smokey, if you want to look at it that way.
The fact that Smokey is going somewhere else, probably to a shelter that will be equipped to handle him, but somewhere else, is possibly the only positive to come out of this. I don't think it's a gotcha for you.
You know, you want to dox people, and that's what happens. Sorry, but what do you expect, you know? So, yeah, that's it.
Where's that mirror again, Foodie?
Leaving my place. Honestly, I'm not that mad because I don't really like living there. Honestly, it's,
Honestly?
I don't really like the stairs. I don't really like that. It's hard, like.
I think she was in a rush to get to an apartment, so she didn't look too closely. It was just, the price, does it have the basics? Fine. I also think living by herself has made her realize how reliant she was on other people, which I don't think, even with everything we've seen, she fully realized before. I think she believes the BS when she's like, I'm an independent woman, I fend for myself. Well, let's see how reality works for you.
I don't know, it's just, not just the stairs, but just the setup and everything. So I'm like, sorry, but, like, people found out where I live, you know, and I'm not causing problems for the landlord. I'm not causing problems for myself. I'm not staying there. So sorry, but no.
Sorry, but no, but landlord took that well.
I'll get my stuff out and that's it, you know. No, I'm not homeless. I mean, yeah.
Well, you are homeless because you don't currently have a home. You're not on the streets. Your family, I assume, has taken you in, but that's not really a long-term solution, is it?
I'm okay, guys, don't worry.
I wouldn't say
Hopefully
worry
I'll
was
off.
the right. And then she immediately, lovely freeze frame, she immediately distracts herself. Like, there's no cat around for a cat deflection, so it's a console deflection.
I'm the type of person, I need to like live on my own. Like, I just need that, you know what I mean? Like, especially with like the type of things I do online, and I would.
She does need to live on her own because she needs to learn how to be alone, but she doesn't have those tools yet. That is a therapy situation, which of course she's not going to be getting. But without those tools, living on her own degenerates into what we saw. She had been away from weed for a year, and yet as soon as she came back, she was constantly high on weed. She needs to learn to exist without being propped up by substances. And I mean that entirely seriously. When I say go to therapy, that is a serious thing she needs to learn. And she won't take those steps. So there's no way this is going to get better.
I want to cause problems for anyone. Come to Scotland. I could pretty much go anywhere in the world I want, actually.
You could, and we'd said before, digital nomads, she could go anywhere. At least Salah could go to like Vietnam or somewhere with her, but then she has to travel, then she has to earn enough money to do XYZ, then she has to worry about visas. She didn't want to leave the apartment, I fully believe that, but she didn't like the apartment, but she didn't want the trouble of leaving it. But in this moment, she thought she had gotten through like the worst of it, which is to settle herself again. So facing it again, could I believe she'd make a stupid decision and be like, all right, let me just get out of here to run away? Yes, I could, but the consequences are going to follow her. She may have different challenges in different places, but they'll all circle around the same things.
But I'm not gonna, keep trying. I'm not in no shape to travel. That's for sure. Well, no, I mean, on my own if I'm not with my husband. Some of my stuff is still there. I gotta slowly take it out.
Slowly? How much stuff do you have? You gotta move the bed. That's the hard one, and that's probably the thing you'll need help with.
So, the window AC, don't know what I'm gonna do with that. Give it away or sell it, whatever.
Why? You'll have a new apartment, one presumes.
I don't have a lot of stuff I may just keep in storage or something. No, they can't, I mean...
Oh, the storage is actually not a bad option. I did a quick Google because I wasn't going to spend a lot of time on it. And it seems like she could get a small storage, like enough for one room, for probably about $75, $100 a month. And then at least she wouldn't have to rebuy her stuff. And it seems like you can get drivers from there and stuff to help you move it. So that actually wouldn't be a bad idea for what she needs while she gets herself settled wherever.
It's not about breaking me. Hi, Joey. There's more places to live, I mean, and I'll just be smarter next time, that's all.
I'm trying to think of a way to say this nicely. I don't think relying on you being smarter is a viable plan. I'm not necessarily sure I managed that.
I'll just have to, make my pieces more boring. I'm sorry, but that's out of necessity. But yeah.
All right, well, out of necessity, who suffers from that? They do get boring, but we can always find something to talk about. You're the one who gets paid from your channel. Go and do some research. You can literally go to places and they can be like, here, have a year of social media ideas. Pay X amount, they give you all the tools. And she could follow one of those. She could do a video saying, hey, I paid X amount for a year's suggestion on social media management and I'm going to do these videos every day. Let's go. And she could just make videos. And she could stock them up so that she could schedule them every day. There are things she could do with actually quite little effort that wouldn't involve all of this. But the fact is, she wants the bees. She wants to have the kind of channel and the kind of money she used to have during all the old mate drama, but make absolutely no effort to do it. So what she's saying here is, I want the same amount of views and the same amount of support and the same amount of donations for less content, but oh well, it'll be your fault. Well, okay, but we're not the ones reliant on this. Yes, we watch it. Yes, we talk about it. But we always have the option of switching. Pulpy's been talking about Anna recently, and I swear to God, I love hauls so much, I might start reacting to her hauls. Don't mean to step on any toes, Pulpy. We can always pivot, but Chantal has to live her life, so if she loses that audience, she is gone. And yeah, she can keep trying, but the chances of her getting a job, she punishes herself.
There's more apartments, there's more things in life, I guess, than that one apartment. So
I guess.
whatever, who cares? I'm not bothered, honestly.
Okay, but you are bothered by the process of having to find a new one. You certainly don't seem settled. You haven't made any plans. For someone who says there's a plan B, you don't seem to have many plans here.
Just think maybe it wasn't meant to be. That's it. I didn't enjoy it that much, no. You guys saw how I want to complain every day how depressed I am. Mostly for missing like Salah and Julia, but also just, I don't know.
Yeah, you miss Salah and Julia, and you turned, more Julia than Salah, and you turned around, you're like, oh, I'm 41 years old and this is my life now. I don't have a sofa. I have a bed in an empty small apartment that I'm going to have to work hard to pay for. And by work hard, I mean actually balance some kind of budget to ensure I can pay the rent for. And I'm now faced with having to actually like plan my content and do the things. And then also at the same time, taking all the gummies and smoking all the stuff. So her mental state is just messed up anyway.
Yep, I don't need people knowing. I don't like them having that power of knowing where my home is.
I wouldn't like it either, and I don't blame her for that.
Staying there. There's no way. There's no way. And they probably wouldn't have found it if it weren't for another ad going up and somebody stalking the internet, you know.
God, landlord, why don't you think of me?
Also, that's just bad luck. But next time, I've learned. I know, I like, you know, 8 million times a charm, but now I know, like.
All right, the millionth time. Let's see how long it lasts.
Okay, I can't live stream at all. Anything from my place, that's it. Not if I don't stream from it. If I only stream from a background or a white wall. No,
Yeah.
no, they won't.
Okay.
Because every time this happens, it makes me know their tricks more.
Because we're very hard to understand. Bear in mind that her uncle's place has already been on camera, so it would probably be fairly easy to match. But if she got a new place and she was able to stick to it, which I don't really think she could, but we'll see.
And so forget it. Yeah, I'm not in a competition with haters. I just want them to get a life and leave me alone. I don't care what you do with your life. You know, like I don't care if you can. I'll give you this win. You can have this win. Go for it.
I don't care. This isn't a win for me. I'm not in competition with you either. This is just entertainment. But for someone who doesn't care, you seem awfully reliant on your audience's reaction to things.
Just like live your life, man. If you hate me, change the channel. Get a life. Like, you know,
I don't like her. I don't really put the energy into hating her, but I do want to know how this goes. Why should I change the channel? You don't want me watching? Don't put it online.
saying that this is how you want to spend your life and think that that karma is not going to come back to you, you know?
Speaking of karma. Mind you, this was Chantal after Dee Dee got doxxed. Yeah, let's look at that.
Don't you have a job, Dee Dee? What happened to your job?
Dee Dee lost her job due to online behavior.
What happened to your job?
What
happened to your job? You still love it the most? You lost your job. Loser.
Having to leave my house, I'm kind of relieved, honestly. I wasn't happy, and every day was getting worse, so you did me a favor.
Okay, well then be more thankful for it. We did you a favor, you're welcome.
Okay, thank you. I'm actually offering if you were like, hey, keep it jammy. That's very nice of you, honestly. I have plans, but I really
Plans, but not results yet.
appreciate you, I do. That's very nice of you to want to take, you know, someone like a stranger into your home. They're coming off so insanely psychotic. It is, yeah. Then you gotta really protect yourself, because you can't control what these people do. These insane people do.
Yeah, it's the internet.
So, that's enough about that. I'm not talking about doxing anymore. I'm not talking about anything.
I'm not addressing this again, you guys.
If I ignore your questions because I can't answer them, I'm not ignoring you. Yeah, I'm not telling people anything anymore. Pretty much anything.
Okay, please don't. Please protect yourself, but it's gonna happen.
So it's just gonna be chatter and mukbangs, whatever I eat. I don't know, whatever I do, but I've had to do.
I'm not gonna sit here and plan my content to be better, you guys. You can just make do with it.
You know, I'm used to just. I kind of enjoy the thought of stability scares me. If that makes any sense, like the thought of being set up somewhere, like just being there, like I just felt like.
Seems like a reason for therapy, friend. I think the idea of trying to get stable makes her realize how insecure she is, and it frightens her. And so she goes around being like, oh, well, I can't stand stability. She does get bored, but it's because of the realization of, oh God, this is my life.
We will never stop ruining your life, karma. Okay, you can try. Sad, pathetic people, really. People are going to end themselves up in jail, like, eventually. Because I'm sure that, like, you know, doxing is illegal.
Eventually. Wasn't Foodie going to report people? She doesn't seem to have done that.
So I'm just saying. But the more illegal things people do, the more, you know, like look at Marty. It was very easy to report him to the FBI, and then he had to stop.
I'm pretty sure Marty died, didn't he? When you said he had to stop, that's not necessarily wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's dead.
Oh, but he did everything on live. So all you need is to catch these people admitting to something, and
Yeah, as indeed people did to Foodie. So it's fine if it's not her, is the basic understanding here.
yeah. But I don't have the time to worry about these people and drama. Like I don't want to.
You have nothing but time. Through your own design, you have nothing but time. And you are in fact completely reliant on this kind of drama, in a way that most reactors are not.
Waste my time looking on every little forum for who did what. Like I want to live my life that way. It's insane, you know? And people who call, like, number one, restaurants should not accept cash on delivery anymore. You need to prepay that. Sorry.
Oh, this was a thing as well, which she probably used as proof with her landlord, and her landlord probably didn't want to deal with it. But people were delivering pizzas to her apartment and then doing cash on delivery, so she was expected to pay when it arrived, which is just an absolute waste of the restaurant's time and resources. Don't do that. They've done nothing wrong. But people do get bored of this behavior, and she has lived with worse.
Because people sending pizzas to people's houses, stuff like that, they need to pay for it. You know, like you're wasting a business's food, you're wasting time. And
seriously, stop making me agree with Chantal, but seriously.
People giggle at that. That's like so sad. You know, same thing when people swap people. You're wasting police resources. Is that not? They need to trace these people and find them in person. They need to like get them in trouble. But I can guarantee you 1,000,000% you're not going to know the next place I live. There's no way.
Again, that feels a lot like you're daring people to prove you're wrong. I don't think she is consistent enough or smart enough to hide her location long enough for that to be true. Because what we do know is she's probably going to be somewhere around Cornwall to be a bit closer to her family and at the more expensive areas. We know her approximate budget, and we know she's probably going to want a private landlord like this guy because there's less chance of her getting stuck with checks, which does rather limit the pool.
Nope. Even if I have to not stream from my house, it'll happen that way.
Okay.
And if I lose money, oh well.
Oh well. I mean, it's your money. I don't mind.
Reaction channel stream from one room, often with a green screen. True, and they don't show themselves, yeah.
I show myself. I have a background here. I've done tours of my apartment, but I'm also in another country, so...
That's probably one of the reasons.
Yeah, basic sense, yeah.
To avoid doxing, you have to be careful. And it's my fault, too, that I showed my place, you know? Now...
Yeah, there is a certain sense of personal responsibility. I still think people go too far in real life, but personal responsibility, Foodie.
There were some other things going on in Kuwait I'm not going to talk about, but I think it was just a good idea that we left.
Legal issues, yeah. I'm still waiting to see what happens with Salah.
I'll talk to you guys later, okay? Bye!
Bye! Okay, so she didn't go live again. I haven't checked her channel today for like community posts. I did check to see if she had another video, and she doesn't at the moment, but I'll leave you there and we'll see what shakes out. Okay everyone, thanks so much. Bye bye.